Something that interests me a lot with history is significant moments, specifically looking at the beginnings of things that are common in our modern day world, like who created the first automobile, or when was the first ever home video game console invented. Oh, and speaking of that, if you've watched a lot of videos on my channel, you'll know that I have a big fascination for retro home consoles and video games. Well, I have recently been playing through the Super Nintendo era of home consoles and have noticed something interesting. The game started off not too different from their previous generation counterparts, if that makes sense. But as we got later into the Super Nintendo's lifespan, games started to push beyond the limitations of what they were being played on. Games like Doom and Donkey Kong Country creating 3D imagery I thought wouldn't have been fully realized until the next generation. So it really got me wondering, what was the first 3D game Nintendo released on the Super Nintendo?
And that historical privilege goes to Starwing!
A game released in 1993 in a co-effort with Nintendo and Argonaut Software. And I just so happen to own the cartridge, so today, we're going to be checking out this game for ourselves. But first, a brief background history for context purposes. Nintendo and Argonaut Software have always been good friends, so this all starts surprisingly back in the days of the NES, where they developed a prototype of the game codenamed NES Glider. The game was developed by Jez Sun, and he demanded Nintendo that they must make custom hardware in order to make the game more capable than it already is. So Argonaut Software had Ben Cheese, Rob McCauley, and James Hakewill design a chip that would enhance the processing power of the Super Nintendo to create 3D shapes. And this led to the invention of the Super FX chip. Now this is the first 3D processing unit sold within a consumer electronic, so that's already a big accomplishment in its own right. The main designs for the game were done by Shigeru Miyamoto, who else? And Katsuya Iguchi. Miyamoto took inspiration from the X-Wings in Star Wars to design the main ships for the game. Not really hard to see, am I right? But Miyamoto said that he didn't want to create a sci-fi style game with humans, monsters, and aliens. So he assigned Takaria Imamura, God, these names are hard to pronounce, to design a team of animal characters, which in my eyes would be to keep Nintendo's safe brand of child-friendly content. In the game, you control Fox's ship, the main character. It's a typical 3D flyer shooter game with lots of enemies coming after you and a boss you need to battle at the end. So the plot is basically an evil scientist has declared war on Corneria, and they have just invented a new spacecraft prototype called the R-Wing, which obviously hasn't had any pilots trained for it yet, and so they dispatch their elite team of mercenaries known as the Star Fox to defeat the scientists and restore peace and justice to the Gateway. Sorry, wrong franchise. I'm confusing myself.
Man, the whole setup, it really brings the classic 90s feel, doesn't it?
Revolutionary Super Effects microchip creates special effects like never before. So they obviously really wanted to market their technology and how much of a change this game was going to be to players. The characters on the front kind of remind me of Fantastic Mr. Fox in a way. Do you see that? Let's get this bad boy open. So you can already tell from this opening alone that they're trying to show off their 3D capability. Let's start off on the training level. I haven't played this. So you could see every individual polygon on screen, and the render distance is so low because objects are only spawning in just like a few meters away. Man, I'm pretty good at this though, I will admit that. A young player might look at this and might say that this is like bad 3D graphics, but actually, for one of the earliest 3D games, this doesn't look that bad. Kind of like the same way I feel when I play a lot of racing games. It actually feels like I'm flying in this ship. Also, another thing I really like is, ever since I got the Super Nintendo, I've wanted more games to like utilize the triggers, because I found the triggers to be an awesome idea and obviously very revolutionary. And in this game, you can use them to go off to the side like that. So if you need to avoid anything on a very like tight turn or something, you could just turn your ship around like so. And then if you double tap it, that's a barrel roll. Alright, I think that's enough training. Let's move on to the actual game, shall we? Oh wow, so you could select your course. Let's start off at Sector X then. Corneria, the base. Star Fox team. Our last resort is to counter-attack Venom. Good luck. All right, thank you. Oh, wow, actual dialogue. All right, the alarms are sounding. We need to scramble our fighters. And with a combination of the sound effects, music, and space theme, it really gives off the feeling of an arcade, which is pretty sweet. Oh, there's the soundtrack. I've definitely heard this one before. It gets you so hyped. All right, so you've got to shoot these weird bird things, and it's quite hard because you actually have to aim because there's no crosshair, but I can get used to this, definitely. There's also like tanks on the ground and stuff. It's funny because I've heard this music all on like the Angry Video Game Nerd series, so it's really cool. What are these robots? They look like AT-STs out of Star Wars. Whoa, I blew them up. I will admit too, this is really hard to control. And apparently at the end of each level, there's also a boss fight, which we've got to get to. I am sweating from my forehead in this intense gameplay. Okay, so every time I crash, you just lose a bit of your shield, but you can replenish it when you defeat enemies. Oh, don't worry, Rabbit, I'll save you. Yeah, thanks, no problem, buddy. Always happy to help. Whoops. Whoa, the falling towers. Okay, I think we just got to stay up. Otherwise, I'm gonna die. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, get that thing. What is that? Oh, I got it. What does it mean? Oh, my shield's very low. Oh no, the boss is here and I've got no shield. How am I gonna do this?
Oh God, he's coming. He's coming from behind.
Vicky, Man Mario here.
Oh, wait, hold on a minute, Mario. I'm in the middle of this intense boss fight.
I wonder who Isaac is.
Okay, I have 4 big bullets. Uh-oh. Well, I guess we should go check out what Mario wanted.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, I got a letter here for you. It was in your mailbox. Oh, look at that. It's today's shout-out. Thanks, Mario. Now, could you piss off? And there he goes with the swearing because he has no other form of comedy but... Okay, bye, Mario. Thanks for the letter. Let's go read this, shall we? Alright, well, let's check out what today's shout-out is, guys. So today's shout-out is going to... Point it at the camera so you can actually see it. Your average football fan! Do you see that? I drew a football and a fan. This guy gave me some very nice encouragement and support when I did my video on trying to complete Super Mario World. Which, if you saw my community post, didn't go quite well. They commented on both the community post and the video, and I just really appreciate the support. Average. That's what I'm gonna call you. But unfortunately, despite your efforts, I'm not gonna be able to do it. I can't spend hours raging on a game without making any progress, so I'm just here to thank you for the nice comments and words of wisdom. But thanks for checking out my content anyway, and I have a question for you. Who is your favorite football player? Judging by your name, that's the question I want to know from you. Let me know your answer in the comment section below. Anyway, let's go put this up on the corkboard, shall we? Ah, sorry, all the lights are in the way. There you go. Put you right up there with the green pin. Let's get back to playing this game, shall we?
Alright, hopefully we get back to the boss fight in time. Ah, get lost, you. Okay, don't worry, Rabbit, I'll save you. I don't know any of the characters' names, so I just call them Rabbit and Toad. Hurry, I am hurrying. I'm having a little bit of trouble here myself, mate. I had to go deal with business. It's also like really hard to judge the distance of things. Like you don't know how far away it is and stuff, or where it actually is, because this is all technically still 2D. All right, here we go. We need to try shooting him immediately, and we need to save our big ones, our big shoots down there, whatever they're called. We've only got 3 left. Shoot him! Boom! Did that get him? No, it didn't get him. Or maybe it did, we just don't see the damage. Ah, damn, we only got 1 left. How are we gonna do this with just one thing? With our normal cannon. There we go, shoot again. Fire. Oh, did I miss? No, we got it. We got it off this time. Now the rest of it we just have to do manually. And it's kind of hard with all these ships coming for us. Oh, there we go, we got the second one off. There we go. Right now, we got left is his body, but he's got bullets coming out his asshole right now. Destroy him. Destroy him. Get rid of the ships. Dodge them. Dodge them. Dodge the bullets. Come on, Star Fox. You can do it, mate. We did it! We blew him up! Look at me! Zicky AG is good at games. That's my new motto. Wow. That was awesome. Stage 1 clear. Well, I think Star Fox or Starwing definitely lives up to all the hype. I give this game a solid 8.5 out of 10. It's very difficult, but you can get used to that. So Starwing was an acclaimed success, sometimes referred to as one of the best video games of all time. It ended up selling almost 3 million copies, ending up in the top 10 most sold games on the Super Nintendo. But the biggest thing this game accomplished was being able to show off the full power of the console it was being played on. With the Super Effects chip, customers were blown away that this thing could render 3D shapes and objects, and it really established Nintendo's dominance in the console wars for their technological innovation. But if you guys would like to see a video on how Sega tried to do the same thing, then why don't you go ahead and subscribe to the channel? Thanks for watching this episode of Adventure Gaming, and if you enjoyed it, then make sure to leave it a thumbs up. And also don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell if you don't want to miss a single upload.